Hello and welcome to Sacred Foundations. This is our March 2023 reading. I'm Julia Frainer here with my good friend, Jill Chesrow. How are you, Jill?
I'm wonderful. I'm in Georgia with the grandson. How about you?
I'm doing well too. It's always so fun to be with our grandkids, isn't it? Like I will be in a couple of months. I'll be with mine, and I'm living across the street from a set right now, but so it is just so fun. So fun. Well, good. We are so excited for this reading. Jill, do you want to pull it up? And we're just going to dive right in, if that's okay.
All right. Let's see here on my little teeny tiny daughter's laptop. Are they up?
There they are. Yay. Oh, so good. See, I'm sorry that I'm like, wow, there's an extra card in there, passages.
Did I not? I thought I sent that to you.
I thought it was the grace of truth, but that's okay. This is wonderful. This is so good. I'm excited.
Okay, awesome.
All right. Did you want me to go first on this read?
No, I'm going to go first. And the reason why is Julie and I talked a little bit ahead of time. And, a lot of times we'll have crossover in our interpretations of the cards. And other times, I'll get a piece Julia doesn't necessarily see, or she'll get a piece that I don't necessarily see. And as we were discussing it, she was sharing what was coming through for her. And I was like, wow, that's awesome. So I'm going to share what I see, and then Julia is going to go into a little bit more depth. And last month's reading was long, so we're going to try to keep this one shorter. All right, so the first card with the Radiance card, this is a base theme. So when I think of Radiance, I think of illumination and really, being our true essence and illuminating our own inner light in the world and, coming from our core essence. So that's the theme. And then the second card is the hopes or fears, or how we really feel about this radiance. So radiance, I think of fire energy, and fire can burn very passionately and stuff. If it's not maintained well, fire can, get out of control. So we want to regulate our fire and allow our passions and our activity levels to be in the right amounts, right? We don't want too much, we don't want too little. So we want what's going to serve us and those we are here to serve best. So when we go to the second card and I see the grace of presence, to me, there's that stillness, there's that tuning in and connecting to the above and the below in our heart essence and really getting still, right? And then our next card is passages. And this, we see a stairwell in there. So we think about, going into the higher realms. And while part of that is, to me, illustrating that, we want to go within, and then we want to go to higher mind and come from a higher essence of our being, there's still a little bit of action there. There's either the action of going up the stairwell and allowing the transformation to take place, and then taking flight from that place of transformation. But what I'm seeing in these cards is a lot of energy going into stillness, and then from that centered state of being, taking the action. When we look at the helpful energy card of She Triumphant, we see a lot of blackness around there, and then we see this illuminating light essence from it. Again, to me, as far as this being in the helpful energy position, we've said it a lot of times, I say it often, life here on planet Earth is not all sunshine and roses. There is shadow work that needs to be gone through, but we don't want to always just work from our shadow and, oh my gosh, I have shadow work to do or whatever, because we are always this illuminating light. So focusing on the light and allowing the light to move forward from the shadows, that's helpful energy. So kind of being mindful of what's going on around you and recognizing it and feeling what you need to feel and stuff, but then focusing and allowing the light to shine forth is very important. The obstacle energy is the initiation card. And this is one that has come up in the last few months. I can't remember exactly what month it came up, but it came up in the obstacle card. Initiation means different things to different people. Initiation energy could be, really exciting and awesome and being initiated into something new. And then sometimes those initiations can be a little, oh, Jules, what would be a good word? Difficult. The initiation could throw some obstacles your way that you need, to overcome, I guess would be a way to say it. So what I'm getting that sense of with this reading is with the initiation is that there's some resistance to the initiation. Either you know it and you feel the initiation energy and you're either afraid or you're feeling overwhelmed or something's stopping you from moving forward in this initiation. That's part of it. And then I was going to say something else and I don't remember. But anyway, so there's a block to this initiation energy, either consciously or subconsciously. And then the final card is messages and signs. So I feel like as far as an answer, outcome, advice card, the messages and signs is you really want to pay attention for this month of what's showing up in your outer world, because if you're aware of the potential obstacles, you could pose a question to the universe, something like, what do I need to see at this time in order for me to move forward in my life? And then you're going to get signs, usually within 3 days, of what that might be. So lots of big energy, getting still, taking the action from a centered place of being, focusing on the light, being aware of any resistance that you may be having towards moving forward in your life, and paying attention and looking for the messages and signs. That's my quick interpretation. What Julia is going to give you in this is pretty deep, so grab your pen and journal and pay attention, because I'm going to be listening with bated breath. No pressure.
No, thank you. Yeah, no pressure. Jill, beautiful. Yes. So I hope that you picked up some really good insights from what Jill offered, and let that be an opening, a tilling of the soil, if you will, an opening for you as we dive a little bit deeper. So when the cards came up, and for me, the first thing I thought was rites of passage, ancestral, past life energy. That's really the thing that jumped out at me. And as Jill had mentioned, and she and I had spoken before, a lot of these cards have come up more than once recently, probably all of them. They're so familiar from the past several months. So that also says, pay attention. Like there's something that is, it's almost like, I don't like the word warning, but it's almost like we've been given the information, and this is go time. This is how I'm feeling. This is go time. So with Radiance being the theme, the current now moment, I immediately thought of the Anahata, the unstruck place within us. That is the place where you're, for me and those that I work with, this is the internal flame. And you are it. You have never not been it. You will always be, you will always have this internal love light, this flame within you. And how do we ignite that? How do you ignite that? How do you fire up that passion? How do you return back to that place within you that has always been, always will be eternal light love? So that remembrance of coming into the radiance of your own essence, your own being. The second cards, which are your hopes and fears. So the grace of presence, Jill and I both pulled that card. In fact, when I pulled card number 2, we always each pull a card number 2. When that came out, I put it back and I was like, I don't know. And I shuffled both decks together and it came up again. So this card is really very powerful, really wants us to come back to. So how do we recognize that inner flame within us? We come back to our presence, to that grace, to that knowingness, to our center, coming back into the present moment. And as I talk about the idea of a rites of passage, a rite of passage, so much energy is happening around, and I'm sure that you all that come to this feel the energy around you, and it can throw us off. But coming back to that center and really recognizing in this card, the idea of the butterflies especially came to me. We're going through more than just a transformation. This is a metamorphosis. If you're in this realm of light worker, ascension, evolution, creating your own reality, you've probably heard that we're kind of walking two worlds, right? And what reality are you wanting? And that's part of this crossing that threshold into what is it that you see? How are you responding to it? What are you feeding? Who in those hummingbirds? Who is whispering to you? Where are you getting the information? Then you go over to passages. How perfect! Like, and I missed the message from Jill about her pulling passages in here. So forgive me for being a little surprised when the cards came up, because I was like, oh my gosh, there's another card in there, and how perfect. Because I was already thinking about a rite of passage, and a rite of passage asks us to cross a threshold. It's shedding the skin of one way, letting go of a way of being in order to come into a new way of being, a new process. The helpful energy card is the promise. She triumphs. It's that promise of when you go inside, you will see the light. The light is within you. And as you let your light shine greater and greater, there is going to be more shadow work. And it just is going to cast more shadows. Here's the thing I think about shadow work right now. And this is what I've been sharing with a lot of my own clients and with myself. We don't always have to be looking to do shadow work. In fact, some things will come up that merely want to be witnessed, acknowledged, and let go. That's part of the healing. Not everyone is a shadow that we have to dissect or we have to put in front of us as an obstacle. We can just say, I see you. Oh my gosh, let me reintegrate you back to the whole with love and let it be. We don't have to dissect it. We don't have to dig out the wound anymore. It's ready to just be witnessed, healed, and reintegrated back. The obstacle of initiation is really very interesting, and I love what Jill has said about that. Yes, we are on a path of change, and often we forget that we are agents of change. And the initiation is to remember that each one of us are an agent for change for ourselves. We are beings of change. Change is constant. That is one of the constants. And this is a big initiation, a big moving through and crossing a threshold. And not only are we agents of change, we are beings of choice. We each get to choose, are we going to do it or are we not going to do it? We're going to do it just a little bit, or are we going to go all in? And either way, we're going to be invited to come back into present, because a lot that happens, we want to exit the body, right? So I'm kind of tying this back in. We want to exit the body, and this work that we're being called to, this initiation, this rite of change asks us to be right here in the body. It's returning back inward, because that's where the answers are. That's where the metamorphosis is going to take place. That's where the change takes place. And you get to decide whether or not you do it or not. And I'm just going to invite all of us to say, either if you're a yes, don't do it halfway, go all the way. And we look at the butterfly. If a butterfly only halfway changes, it's not going to lift off and fly. It's not going to experience what it's supposed to experience in its life. And neither are we. And then the outcome card to me is all about, in this reading, how do I know if I'm doing it? How do I know if I'm really all in or a part in, or I'm scared, or was that too much? Was it not enough? All of the things that we normally question within ourselves. This outcome card says, be still, be present, and listen for the messages and signs. That's when you know. Each step, it's not like living out there 25, 30 steps ahead. It's the next step. And that's the subtle energy that comes in, the subtle synchronicities, the subtle messages and signs that remind you, you are right where you are meant to be in this great rite of passage. So that's it. That's what came through to me. I just invite you that if this is really resonating and you want to go a little bit deeper, reach out to Jill and myself. We have an opportunity that you can do that with us. So Jill, thank you. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, I do. I have two final thoughts. So beautiful, Julia. That was great. Thank you so much. I've talked about this again also in the last couple months. I've said it a lot, and that's about support. So if we look at just the image of initiation, we see, a group of women, right? So outside of everything we've already said, make sure that you have some support systems put in place. And if you don't, look for them. Ideally, in a perfect world, you'd have some good friends or people that you work with that do offer that support. So kind of look at what type of support system you have, and if that needs to be a little bit strengthened, or if it's an obstacle in some way. Maybe the support system you have isn't serving you anymore. But the reason that I bring that up is because I don't know if you're going to be able to see it on the video, but in this messages and sign card, you've got this beautiful woman here. In the background, right here, there is a being, a lovely being. And we're supported in the seen and unseen world. So even if you don't feel super supported in the actual physical world, I hope you remember that you have your angels, your guides, your ancestors, all these allies, your spirit support team, universal support team, whatever you call it. Remember that it's there for you, and it's there supporting you in the unseen world. And that support can be and will be manifested in the physical world on your journey. So that was just one other thing I wanted to mention and forgot to. And then the other thing is, Julia, I know in the card that you created for the first deck, you have the symbolism of the dove, and I see two doves here. So can you just touch really quick on, for those, this message might not be for everybody, but for some people, I really feel like they'll benefit from hearing what the dove symbolizes again.
Yeah, so interesting that you bring that up. I just a quick side note, I have recently been calling upon another spirit guide for my team. And I said, I want to know that you're present with me. And I want to see a sign, a symbol, a message from you. And I was out, I had gone up to the park not far from here and was looking even for a stone or a rock or a token of some sort, right? And I did it. And I got home and I was like, oh, I guess maybe you're not here with me, right? And as I came into my little courtyard, a morning dove flew over and dropped a feather. I don't have it. Oh, it's right here. Dropped this little feather. So, like literally in front of me, released the feather. And that was my sign, my message from spirit that this new ally is with me. And so that's what dove represents for me, is my spirit team, my ally. It is peace. It is that subtle gentleness. It's the, there's a sound that a dove makes that is so sensual in the sense that you almost miss it if you're not listening, right? If you're not hearing it. It's very gentle and kind, benevolent, an ally of peace and grace and presence. It's restoration for me. And that's my card. It's restoring me back to my true essence. Still.
I love that story, especially since there's 3 feathers on the woman's hat and messages and signs. So I really feel like that ties in beautifully. All right, awesome. Well, thank you, everybody. And Julia, I guess I will ask you any last words before we say goodbye until next week or next month.
I think I'm good. Jill, thank you so much. Always.
All right, bye everyone.
Take care. Bye-bye.